everyone. I'm Symphony Privet. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Featured, where we hope to inspire or simply make you smile with uplifting stories across the country. First up, you know that old saying, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And if that's the case, one Maryland artist has a lot to say. Sean Martinelli shows us how he is letting his paintings speak for themselves.
Outside this DC art gallery, the day couldn't be more dull. Yet inside, inspiration abounds.
And everyone's like, whose paintings are these? This is incredible. His name is C.L. Lunn. He is autistic. He cannot speak.
From his Bethesda, Maryland basement, Charles Lenny Lunn turned shades of setbacks into hues of hope.
He came out 1.9 kilos.
Lori is Charles's mom.
We got series of white coats saying, oh, he'll never get off of fours, he's never going to walk, he'll be a vegetable, put him in a home.
Doctors didn't realize Charles was capable of much more.
This is not a mental disability by any means. It's a physical disability between the brain and the body.
Charles could communicate, he just needed a way. Art became that way.
Okay, here you go.
Eventually, through the help of a communication partner and by pointing on this card with letters, words followed.
M-O-U-T-H.
Charles told us, "You mouth talkers never fail to make me artistic gold inspiration."
I-T-T-O-O.
It too often happens that I am judged by the body I inhabit, not my mind. Rather than see my surface, look before you make hurtful assumptions, he added.
Done. All done.
All those years, Charles wasn't speaking. He was watching. He was listening, which leads us here.
I think that we're all born with innate abilities. I think that he was born with innate ability.
On display in this exhibit are years of Charles's expressions, paintings and poems, and an invitation for us all.
Honestly, at the beginning, I was like wildly skeptical of all of this.
Jason Hamaker curated the exhibit. Now, instead of being skeptical, he believes this is
magical.
A sentiment shared by co-curator Sarah Tangy.
This is his big coming out. It's pretty overwhelming.
Seeing this around me is, I get really choked up when I see it. Sorry, yeah, I didn't. I'm really proud of what he's done. It's brilliant. We've had a really hard road. I feel like we've climbed a huge mountain. And we're at the top and we're just shouting. Yeah.
Shouting, asking the world to listen to people like Charles.
They're here for a reason. Yeah, they're here to teach humanity.
And even with no words spoken,
they have a lot to say.
And that was Sean Martinelli reporting. A young athlete in Texas is proving he is unstoppable on and off the court. He has hustle, heart, and the GPA to match. Doctors say Geraldo Henry Jr. would never walk, but as Brittany Moncrief shows us, he was clearly born to fly.
What some may see as a constraint,
When I have school, this is where I log in.
is actually Geraldo Henry Jr.'s freedom.
Like, I'm not really a lazy person.
It's that Kobe Bryant Mamba mentality.
Great things come from hard work and perseverance. Hashtag no excuses.
A mantra he lives by because when he was born, doctors diagnosed him with spinal bifida. His mother, Christina, amazed when he took up soccer.
He wasn't supposed to walk. And then again, it's Junior taking risk and then like figuring out like he can't feel his legs at all. We're like, what?
Her amazement growing when Geraldo began using a wheelchair, trading his soccer ball for a basketball.
My mom and dad played sports back in their time, so it was fun for them. So why not? So I just figured it would be fun for me.
He competes nationally on teams like the Dallas Junior Wheelchair Mavericks.
I just like to learn a lot, and so it's easy for me to like understand the game a little bit more.
Heating up on and off court.
I get buckets though.
The 4.03 scholar athlete puts up a new score, committing to the University of Missouri's wheelchair basketball team.
I was like kind of shocked because I wasn't expecting that.
And his parents, with the assist, are proud too.
He adapts and overcomes. Like, you find your happiness in what life has presented to you.
And this happiness
Make it to Team USA.
is freedom. In Red Oak, I'm Brittany Moncrief.
Alrighty, let's take it to the balance beam in Minnesota now. And that's where two gymnasts are showing there's just so much more to their skills than keeping up with their physical health. They put their dreams on hold to focus on their well-being. And as Morgan Wolf tells us, they are now paving a new path forward.
They got to jump around, do the trampoline.
A path through sports has twists and turns.
It's just in them.
No one understands better than these two gymnasts.
Yes, our whole life.
Elle Miller from Blaine.
Yeah, our whole life. Yep.
And Lily Peterson have been twirling in leotards since they were 2.
It's been a dream of mine my whole entire life. I did elite for a while, but then I realized that just wasn't my path anymore. And my dream has always been college, and actually being able to do it, it's just like I don't want to ever stop.
One-time competitors turned teammates this year at Oklahoma University.
Well, just to get to experience it and being from the same state is truly incredible. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
That journey included winning a national championship.
A fever dream. Crazy. It was amazing.
But success doesn't happen without struggle. Before college, Elle competed for Team USA, training alongside future Olympians. She was all in, even doing online school to keep up. But in her senior year, she stepped back.
I needed her to come to that conclusion, not me. I wasn't going to tell her you need to change, but in my heart, I knew she was injured. I knew she was hurting. I knew she wasn't happy. I could see it. I could feel it. And when she came to us and said she wanted to change and not do elite anymore, inside I was like so thankful because I knew there was something bigger and better for her.
I would do everything for everyone. I would do my routines for my coaches. I wouldn't do anything for myself. And so I learned to do things for myself, especially the last year of 10 and then this year going into college, and just to have confidence in myself.
As they head back to college, they're not just following a path, they're owning it.
True that.
With confidence and clarity, stepping fully into who they are.
Yeah. Don't push it under the rug, you know, speak up. Speak up about it.
They are both very brave for, taking a time out to focus on their mental health. And I'm sure it wasn't easy for them, but they are now better for it. That was Megan Wolf reporting. Now, for almost 25 years, a Tennessee father never stopped searching for his son. The hunt took him to more than half a dozen cities and finally to one of the farthest points of the U.S., Fairbanks, Alaska. Sarah Oppman shares the story of family, faith, and what it means to hold on to hope.
For decades, this family portrait hung in the Rosen home with a heart marking the empty space where their son Matthew should be. Today, that heart has been replaced with Matthew's photograph.
We've been hoping all of these years that we would find him, and then all of a sudden you have that moment when you realize the thing that you've been waiting for almost 25 years is about to happen.
Almost 25 years after they last saw Matthew, the Rosen family, including a couple of his siblings and his mother and father, traced a series of clues 4,000 miles into the far reaches of Alaska.
And our daughter Rebecca shouts out, "That's Matthew. I'd know him anywhere." I said, "Matthew?" And he said, "Yeah." And I said, "It's me, your dad."
Matthew left home in his 20s in the midst of battling mental health challenges, gone with no trace for years.
Carolyn used to refer to it as mourning the living. And that's exactly what it was.
On and off searches for more than 2 decades led the Rosen family to create the group Hold On to Hope, supporting people searching for loved ones.
You realize that there's so many people out there who are in the exact same situation that we are.
A series of friends, contacts, and small breakthroughs helped them find their son, now age 50, in the woods of Alaska.
When we last saw him, he was a bit disheveled. There was a darkness in his eyes. None of that was there.
Matthew welcomed the reunion and offered words of comfort for his parents.
He said, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry for all the pain, for all the hurt, all the heartache that I've caused you all. Will you forgive me?" And we said, "Of course we forgive you."
A heart, now a picture, a family restored.
It was realizing that which we had hoped for, that's what we had prayed for, that which we had asked God for, finally came through.
And that was Sarah Oppman reporting. All right, now check out this scary moment in Texas. A restaurant manager was handed a baby. Look at that in the drive-thru. She says the mom was frantic and had nowhere else to turn. The baby was choking and the mother was begging for help.
I've never had someone hand me a baby and say, can you try to save my baby? So I guess it was just try to save the baby. Try to save it. What can you do? I mean, you can't hand it back. You do what you can do.
I'll get this. Bliss Box store manager Nicolette Wilkerson had no medical training or any children of her own. She says it was her instincts that saved the baby's life.
After a few pats, it really cried. And I knew, my mom used to tell me when we were young, like, if you can cry, you ain't choking. You know what I mean? So that's when I felt safe. And then I handed it back to its mother.
Wow. Wilkerson says the baby's cries brought tears of relief to both herself and the child's mother. Wow, happy ending to that story. I know that mom is so thankful that she was there to help out. All right, we have more for you ahead on Featured. Coming up, don't put your health on the back burner. We have a cautionary tale from cancer survivors about the importance of mammograms. Plus, this isn't just a shirt. We share how the fabric is lifting up the community that needs it the most. And a bit later, a bold new comic character is bringing Black history to life through time-traveling adventures. Stick around to find out how the 10-year-old hero is making learning fun for kids. Now, we all know life can get busy, but it is important to prioritize your health. Breast cancer survivors in North Carolina are living proof that if you wait, it might be too late. Well, they are now sharing their story with Michelle Bowden in hope of saving more lives.
It's not easy to go public with something so private.
It's just been surprising to me and overwhelming.
Don't put this to the bottom of your to-do list.
Both Meg Robertson and Amy Highland-Jones delayed getting mammograms.
I was busy and I was working really hard and thinking I have no family history. This is just not going to be what is going to get me. And that was not a smart step to take.
Jones, the head of communications for investment banking at Wells Fargo, finally got one in 2020 and was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer just before the world shut down.
Well, it started with a premonition almost in December of 2019. I just knew something was wrong. I was doing a self-check and I had skipped 3 years of mammograms. And I was 49, and I said, I just know I have to go in and get a screening.
Because the earlier women catch it, the less impact it's going to have on their lives.
Meg Robertson, who works with nonprofits and is an executive coach, delayed her mammogram during COVID like so many others. When she finally did go in, she had cancer in both breasts. Because of our original story with Robertson, at least one woman got checked and found her own cancer.
But when I saw Meg's story, and I was like, okay, it's time for me to go. Oh, I mean, I'm forever grateful to Meg.
The same thing happened after Jones first spoke to us.
A very good friend of mine's sister saw the spot in August of 2020. It prompted her to get a mammogram, and she also discovered cancer.
The American Cancer Society says 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. That number is steadily rising. Breast cancer is the most common cancer for women outside of skin cancer.
I'm doing really well.
Both Robertson and Jones are now celebrating being cancer-free, but both say they're celebrating something else just as important.
Maybe it was worth it. It helped her, so maybe it was worth it. Well, it just makes the not so fun parts of it a little more worthy, I guess.
I think if you can just have one person go in, get that screening, and learn something that's going to change the course of their life, that's why I do this.
That was Michelle Bowden reporting. Now, a terminal diagnosis is not always the end. An Army veteran battled cancer while undergoing 3 brain surgeries. Whoa, and now he has a new purpose. Kyle Simchuk takes us to Arizona to share his story.
For retired Army Captain Clayton Burkhart, flying Chinook helicopters wasn't just a job, it was his passion.
Oh, I loved it. That's what got me hooked in the first place.
But in 2021, during a training mission over Germany, Burkhart's life changed in an instant.
My right side got like numb and tingly, and I wasn't able to speak. Pilot next to me, the flight instructor, he asked me, like, sir, are you going to roll out of this turn? And I tried to respond. I couldn't say anything.
That frightening episode was the first sign of a grade 3 anaplastic astrocytoma, a malignant brain tumor. The diagnosis came 3 months later. Burkhart was 29.
Life expectancy is 3 to 5 years from diagnosis, but I have a favorable mutation. My doctors say maybe 10, 20, maybe even up to 30 years.
After enduring 3 brain surgeries, including one while awake, Burkhart had to relearn how to speak.
I couldn't even say my name, but after like a month, I gained most of it back.
Despite the setbacks, Burkhart resumed his online studies at ASU, courses he began while still in the military. On Thursday, he put on his cap and gown, and his parents watched proudly as the now 33-year-old received a degree in electrical engineering.
I'd like to be able to contribute to like brain cancer, contribute to treatments and maybe research with like diagnostic imaging like MRI, which is great already, but I think there could always be improvements, especially seeing like how much it helped me.
And this isn't the end of Burkhart's academic journey. He plans to pursue a master's degree at ASU.
Terminal diagnosis. It doesn't mean it's the end. You can still, until your last breath, you can still, there's good things to follow.
That was Kyle Simchuk reporting. Do you believe in miracles? Well, one took place in Minnesota on a soccer field. Listen to this. A player suddenly went into cardiac arrest during a game, and thanks to a few angels in the outfield, he is alive today. Will Hall explains.
Deals. Derek.
You're okay.
If you look close enough, I'm more than okay. You'll find miracles.
Hey, Scott. Hi, buddy.
Good to see you, man.
You too.
Thank you. Everywhere you look.
Hi, Sierra. Scott. His wife.
This is my wife. And for Nils Gulbranson,
thank you.
March 19th,
the last thing I remember
is a day full of them.
Was the second half started.
The 25-year-old was playing in his weekly men's league soccer game that night.
And by that point, you were laying on your back, weren't recovering, started to turn a little purple.
When all of a sudden, he went into cardiac arrest.
Couldn't feel a pulse, so we started CPR for probably 6 minutes.
That's when opponents Derek Eklund and Scott Hunter,
Derek was more on point, I would say,
quickly became Nils' biggest teammates.
I didn't
Those teammates
see myself on the floor.
Miraculously, both work in the medical field.
And then luckily someone brought in an AED.
The M Health Fairview Sports Center also miraculously contained AEDs.
You stopped breathing again, lost your pulse, and we did have to use the defibrillator. A couple more minutes of CPR, and again you started breathing again, getting more color back.
By the grace of God, you guys were there and you came over and you saved my life.
Nils was diagnosed with arrhythmogenic right ventricular cardiomyopathy.
And you got a little bit of a life-saving device in there in case.
Yes, right. I have an SICD with a little wire that's not this wire, of course, going up my sternum.
A rare genetic condition
monitoring me 24/7
that affects the heart's right ventricle.
If anything if there's irregular beats, if there's whatever, it'll just shock me back. Is the rest of my life going to have to change probably a little bit? But I mean, I'm grateful because I'm alive.
And that's
right.
A miracle.
I'm here. Can I give you both a hug again, though?
Absolutely, of course.
Thank you.
You think, what if they weren't there? But they were there. And so I am eternally, forever, just beyond grateful.
This is something, all of us are going to share forever, you know. And I'm not going to forget this.
It was a team effort that, hey, we get the outcome that we needed, and thank God you're here.
Yeah.
That was Will Hall reporting. We have so much more for you here on Featured. Let's check out what's coming up. Now, you might need to pull out that dictionary. Do people even use them anymore? Those physical ones? We are checking out the list Google released that has America double checking their spelling. Plus, a community is finding value in secondhand items, but not because of the low prices. We meet the garage sale queen that has kept them coming back for 6 decades. All right, let's dive into what's trending on social media. Google has released a list that shows a majority of Americans are struggling with spelling the same words. All right, let's check it out. Landing at the top is definitely, followed by separate, necessary, and believe. I used to have a hard time with that when I was a kid. And through is taking 5th place. Now, studies suggest heavy reliance on autocorrect weakens spelling skills over time, which some researchers are calling digital amnesia. Alrighty, now a baby was at the center of a wild commencement moment at the University of Buffalo. Take a look at this video.
You really about to do it? 40 acres in the mule. This is bigger than the music.
Did you see that? Graduate Jean-Paul Alarab was determined to get his diploma with his son by his side, even if that meant fleeing from security and campus police. On TikTok, Alarab explained he was initially told by the school that bringing his baby would be okay, but when the day came, he was stopped by event staff who told him it was considered a safety hazard. And as you can see in the video here, he ran right past them with the baby in tow and did it anyway. In the end, he was not punished for ignoring the rules. The school even joked about the viral moment, saying, despite crossing the stage in a cap and gown, the baby has not yet earned enough credits to receive a diploma. But they hope to see him in 20 years, following in his dad's footsteps. I love that video. All right, that's a wrap on Trending. We have more for you ahead on Featured when we return. Hey there, thank you for staying with us here on Featured. I'm Symphony Privet, and we are continuing to bring you some uplifting stories from across the country. A small business in St. Louis is selling t-shirts, not to make a profit, but to support a community that was devastated by a recent tornado. Renee Knott speaks to the owner, who is bringing attention to a neighborhood that often gets overlooked.
It's hot off the presses, a design.
The skyline just represents who we are.
Showing heart.
Really, we're the heart of the Midwest.
It is Doris Finnegan's latest inspiration.
Together we rise, always.
To unite our city.
It brings a sense of camaraderie. We're in this together.
It became her call to duty.
So we think about ways that we can give back as a small business.
After seeing the tornado devastation,
we saw people just standing there with their hands over their face in disbelief.
In North St. Louis.
It broke my heart thinking these people don't have much to begin with, and now what they do have is buried under a pile of rubble. I see my struggles, and while I might think that they're difficult, they're nothing compared to what North City is experiencing right now.
A t-shirt may not seem to be much.
It is just a t-shirt.
But Doris believes it can be a difference maker.
Proceeds from our t-shirt sales will benefit the Urban League and their efforts in the city.
And bring attention to a part of St. Louis.
That community, I believe, suffers on a daily basis.
She feels is often forgotten.
This is just a way that I can be a resource to help with the efforts to make North City strong again.
That was Renee Knott reporting. Turning now to a Texas neighborhood to meet the queen of garage sales. At nearly 100 years old, Nanny is entering her 60th year of hosting them. Alicia Nieves learned it's a beloved community tradition that's as much about connection as it is about bargains.
I want to see how they go. At 99 years old, most people are slowing down.
I tell my kids, let me do what I can.
Not Dolly Walwer, known affectionately as Nanny.
I'll be 100 July the 2nd.
Twice a year for the past 6 decades, she's turned her driveway into a treasure trove.
As soon as we start bringing the tables out in the morning, people start stopping by.
Most items, under $1. Holiday decor, old electronics, and clothes sorted by size with special tags sewn on.
About 7:15, 7:30. We started getting people to come and shop.
I sew.
Even torn garments are patched up by Nanny herself.
She'll wash them, iron them, everything. She grew up in the Great Depression and stuff, so she will use things. Everything still has a value to her.
Nanny sells items for others too, without taking a cut of the pay. Everyone is given what they're owed.
My mom
would come out here and help her. So that's how I got started in it.
She's taught 4 generations of garage sale experts.
The kids help me. Believe me, I make them work.
Everything would literally revolve around the garage sales 2 months out of the year. But she believes that you should always work. She'll say, if you sit, you die.
It's social hour on the driveway, where laughter and connection aren't just food for the soul, they're good for the heart.
I love that story, that one coming from Alicia Nieves. And we have another one for you here. Step right up, the American circus. Once a beloved and thrill-filled spectacle, it's been on the decline over the years. Some are fighting to preserve its legacy. In Sarasota, Florida, Audrey Achumba explores the circus's captivating story. The question is it vanishing or transforming into something new? Well, she speaks to experts in the industry to find out.
A timeless art form steeped in talent, tradition, and transformation. For over a century, the circus captivated imaginations across America. Its glamour, grit, and spectacle unmatched. And nowhere was that more true than here in Sarasota, Florida. Signs the circus once thrived here are everywhere.
Circus was a huge deal in every way in Sarasota. It was a huge deal because of the literal property, but also because of the influx of people who came in.
The city's transformation began in 1927 when John Ringling moved the winter quarters of the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus from Bridgeport, Connecticut.
John Ringling was the father of what you would consider the modern circus, I would say.
He created a whole complex out in the old fairgrounds and created tourist attractions. So right off the bat, circus becomes a draw to the city of Sarasota and brings a whole community of people who have enriched our area.
Ringling's World of Wonders, teeming with tamed tigers and roaring lions, ferried across the country in spectacular wagons, coming to life under the grandeur of big top tents chock full of families.
That's what made it profitable, was the fact that he didn't have to change everywhere that he went. He could take that cookie cutter pattern, if you will, of the circus and just move it from arena to arena to arena.
Today, the Ringling Museum stands as a beacon of that bygone era, preserving artifacts and legacy and retelling the stories of what's known as the greatest show on earth. The remnants of that world now walking a tightrope along the lines of ethics, entertainment, and an evolution into a new era.
The circus is in a decline, but I don't know of any industry that doesn't have its ups and downs. We know the saying, think outside of the box. I always say we have to start thinking outside of the big top.
But he recognizes the industry's struggles, especially the decline of animal acts and the scrutiny over their treatment.
For the last several generations, circus has become more unrelatable.
Performing animals were at the heart of many circus performances for a very long time. The circus started originally in 1768 with the equestrian riding. So horses are the very beginning of what we call the circus today.
Including various exotic animals like big cats and elephants.
That was a big part of the circus experience up until 2016 was when the elephants were retired from Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey. Times have changed and we understand more about the needs of animals. And public opinion has changed. We've also seen a lot of political changes where there's licensing requirements that make it very hard for people to travel animals.
Timmy, hey. Hello.
Now those animals are in retirement, gone to places like the Big Cat Habitat, where we met 76-year-old Kay Rosaire.
These are the last of their kind. Many animals here are endangered in the wild. Some of them critically endangered.
Rosaire comes from a long line of circus performers hailing from Ireland.
We are a family of people that have been working and living with animals for 8 generations up to me. My son is the 9th generation. And it's just part of our way we live. It's not a job, it's a way of life.
Rosaire, who once dazzled crowds performing with big cats.
We were the heroes back then. We were like the rock stars of the day.
Now runs a sanctuary where education now takes center stage.
It's not the same. It's not the same. Sadly, we've lost some great entertainment that's tasteful and classic and beautiful and not showing our worst part of our lives.
And that looks to be the circus's future, coupled with digital innovations and tightening legislation. Adaptation and evolution are inevitable. And shows like Cirque du Soleil, for example, now offering only human-centric spectacles, no animals, just art.
I see around the world circus artists really pushing themselves to new boundaries, doing new acrobatic acts, really developing the arts of the circus in new ways. The scale of circus is different than it used to be when it's traveling and performing, but that love of seeing people do something remarkable, that's always going to be there.
For some, it's nostalgia. For others, it's a living, breathing legacy still finding its balance in an ever-changing world.
All right, it's great to see how the circus has changed over the years. That was Audrey Achamba reporting. Now, a professional cartoonist in Connecticut is rewriting the way kids learn about Black history. He's taking them on the ultimate field trip back in time. Angelo Bavaro introduces us to the 10-year-old time traveler, highlighting heroes not typically found in the pages of comic books.
Flipping through the pages of your favorite comics. Colors and characters bring worlds to life.
He has a unique approach to teach Black history in a way that's never been taught before.
And in the case of 10-year-old Kemet the Time Traveler, you can add culture to that list too.
I said, let's call him Kemet, which means Black Land, Africa.
Enter a new comic book origin story born from the story of creator Joe Young at his office in East Hartford.
It was comics that saved me because I was poor in school. I used to call myself the fisherman because all my grades were below sea level, but I was introduced to Marvel and DC Comics and especially animation Schoolhouse Rock. And that stuff really saved me.
So Young put purpose to paper.
Kemet is a mashup of different cultures and people and time.
And a comic for the ages was born. Inside the issues, Kemet shares his generations of wisdom with a new generation.
When I look at that bobblehead Kemet, I see hope.
By changing your thoughts, you change your actions.
Bringing kids from the 21st century back in time to learn lessons they will not find in any textbook.
For instance, we had a young girl who had temper issues, a little Black girl, and she was getting in trouble in school. And so Kemet brought her to meet the Goji warriors to say, if you're going to fight, let it have a purpose. Or a kid, Billy, was being bullied, so he met Elijah McCoy, who was bullied.
Comic books is a way for kids to really learn without even realizing they're learning.
Robina McKinley is a former teacher and senior producer on the Kemet team.
We work with Kemet in many of the schools around the city of Hartford and outside of Hartford.
Kemet also packs a punch among the stars, rubbing elbows with celebrities like Tiffany Haddish and Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Okay, so what are we thinking? Will we ever see Kemet versus the Avengers?
Well, it would be great to be a major commercial success, but I want a major community success. And I have this dog tag. It says that Kemet the Time Traveler will be a household name by 2025, 2026.
In the heart of Connecticut, Black hidden gems are waiting to be discovered.
It's a Hollywood ending in the making.
We just filmed Connecticut CT Gems. It's a youth travel documentary.
Let's go for a ride back into our past.
But no matter the platform for this time traveler's future adventures,
Black history is American history. We just want to show some of the things that were lost for whatever reason.
His true power will stay timeless.
Wow, an incredible story from Angelo Bavaro. Now, don't go too far. We are taking a brief break, but here's a look at what's coming up next. A beer chug that made the crowd go wild. How a hockey fan in Texas is turning heads and hearts. All right, now if you've ever been to a live sports event, you know it can get pretty wild out in the stands sometimes. Well, in fact, two fans stole the show during two separate hockey games in Dallas, and they both appeared on the Jumbotron chugging beer from their prosthetic legs. And as Matt Howerton explains, underneath all the fun was a powerful message. Take a look.
I was born with fibular hemimelia.
you don't have fibulas in both of your legs, or one.
Life deals us all different cards.
It can be super downer for a lot of people.
Austin Lewis, a double amputee, always plays his to the fullest.
I try to take it and flip it into a positive thing in my life.
The avid Stars fan modifies motorcycles for people like him and rides them, never letting a moment of fun pass him by. Something everyone at Game 4 of the Stars-Jets series learned and loved.
I called it a leg luge, but some people say a leg logger or a amputini.
A fan cam ended up in Lewis's section.
I instantly grabbed my leg and poured my beer.
And a toast from his toes stole the show.
It's like the longest 10 seconds of my life.
But it gets better.
I saw a guy on Facebook do it like 3 weeks ago, and I was kind of inspired by him.
At Game 1 of the Avs-Stars series, another fan without a leg went viral for passing his prosthetic around for chugs.
Just tossed it to him, dude caught it, and away they went.
This is him, Cody Barrett from Lubbock. He recently lost his leg due to a blood clot.
So maybe we have started a new trend at the Stars game, the old rally leg.
I drank the beer and then we won the game. There could be a strong correlation there.
Trend or not, there's something about these moments that stir the heart.
Being an amputee, we're all still people, you know?
I just try to show people, like, I can go do everything that other people want to do, and maybe even more.
Turns out, joy doesn't need 2 feet to stand on. In Dallas, I'm Matt Howerton.
Wow, never heard of an amputini. That's a creative name, or a leg locker, but hey, you learn something new every day. All right, let's head over to San Diego now, where a softball player is proving that you are never too old to swing for the fences. Jeff Zevely introduces us to a local legend heading back to the baseball field.
Let's go Sal! Let's go Sal! Leading off for the Royal Blue Rascals. 93-year-old Sal Yepes.
A lot of you seniors out there that are over 55 ought to be out here.
Sal retired from senior softball at age 76.
I thought it was too old. I thought I was too old and came out here and did well.
He slammed 4 home runs that day.
Well, Sal, what do you got, baby?
And stayed on the job.
If you think you have a bad day, go talk to Sal, then he'll cheer you up.
And provide inspiration to youngsters like Dick Cummins.
Sal's our role model out here. I'm proud of him that he's still playing. He loves the game.
Sal's daughter Jennifer says her tough dad once ran a marathon after getting a kneecap torn off in a car accident.
He survived a lot of stuff, you know. I mean, he's got a good guardian angel.
Sal's little sister, Alice,
they grew up with baseball.
Was one of 13 San Diego siblings.
I signed with the Cardinals back in 1954.
So what's it like stepping in the batter's box at 93 years old?
Very hard.
Very hard, and we're about to find out with the Sal cam. On his first at-bat, base hit. But on his second time to the plate, Sal was walked.
They're afraid of him. They walk him.
Then on his next at bat, a pop-up to shortstop.
That's what happens when you're 93.
Then, after striking out, Sal gave our head cam the boot. First, the crowd booed the pitcher for not pitching to Sal, and then they booed me for putting the camera on his head. Wouldn't you know it, on the very next pitch, Sal grounded up the middle to help secure the win. In this league, seniors play for free when they're age 80 and older, which means today, Sal's buying tacos for the whole ballpark.
Sal has saved so much money since he turned 80, he could have done a steak lunch for us.
That was Jeff Zevely reporting. Coming up next on Featured, in the famous words of painter and instructor Bob Ross, there were no mistakes, just happy accidents. And we will meet an artist in Dallas who would agree. Welcome back. An artist's dreams are now a reality, and it is all because of what he calls his greatest mistake. Sean Giggy shares his story from Dallas, Texas.
You know, my doctor tells me I need to walk a lot. I let my fingers do the walking.
It's been roughly a decade since Modesto Aceves' greatest mistake.
This is my way of exercising. Sometimes I say, wow, did I do that? It's hard to believe that I'm doing this. 83.
As we first reported in 2018, growing up in Dallas, Modesto dreamed of becoming an artist, but put those aspirations on hold to raise his family.
What my feelings are, it's in my heart.
Occasionally, he painted for fun, and late one night, he was so focused, he wasn't paying attention.
Sometimes when you get too involved in your art, you forget where you actually put your brush at. So I actually did my brush in my coffee, and boop. That's how it started. And I said, gee, no wonder my coffee tastes so strange.
Rather than wash the coffee from his brush, Modesto painted with it. And he's been doing it ever since.
I don't have to drink coffee no more. I can just smell it with my paint.
Clearly, this isn't your average Joe. Modesto says once he started painting exclusively with coffee, it was grounds for something beautiful.
Yes, sir.
Since our story first aired, his art has become pretty grande. Modesto has been invited to give annual demonstrations at the state fair, and his art has been displayed in Italy, Brazil, and around the world.
Coffee not just for drinking, that's what I would tell everybody.
Eventually, he would like to open his own gallery.
But I can't keep my paintings because they sell so fast.
The life he always wanted, now the reality he's created.
True art comes from the heart.
At 63, his dream has come true.
You got to keep on pushing, no matter what. Dreams are possible.
Anything can happen as long as hope is brewing.
You're never too old or you're never too young to believe in that dreams do come true.
In Dallas, I'm Sean Giggy.
All right, check this out. One husband's lack of artistic talent has turned into a bit of a side hustle here. Now, it all began when he painted his wife. Oh my goodness, this was a wedding gift. Now, she thought the artwork was hilarious and posted it on social media. And that post sparked countless requests from people wanting their own poorly done portrait. So it looks like it's worked out pretty well for him. So far, he's been commissioned for 90 paintings, and there is now a 3 to 5 week wait list. Oh my goodness, he now has a business called Terrible Art by Jamie Lee. Hey, if it works, it works. Now, there is a new collectible craze taking over. Meet Labubu, the monster toy from Pop Mart that is sending fans into a frenzy. Lines are wrapping around malls. Some stores are selling out in minutes. I haven't seen anything like this since the Beanie Babies back in the day. I had a couple of them. Now, this whimsical figure, it's gone viral on TikTok with collectors paying hundreds, sometimes thousands, for rare versions. No way. Well, Pop Mart's blind box concept adds to all the hype because you never know which figure you'll get, making each unboxing a mystery. And it looks like the Labubu craze will not be slowing down anytime soon. So we'll just have to wait and see if they're actually worth anything in like 5 or 10 years down the line. Let me know if you still have Beanie Babies stored somewhere. Loved those. All right, that is it for Featured. I hope you found something that inspired you or made you smile. Until next time, make it a great one.